Today we are going to talk about Galveston, where it all began, the Juneteenth celebrations. And today we have with us a member of the Galveston Park Board who's going to give us an update on all the activities that we have in Galveston that you're going to want to come and visit. Her name is Carnes, and she is employed by the Galveston Park Board, and she's going to give us an update on everything that goes on in Galveston. Caitlin.
Hi, Miss Banks. Thank you so much for having me.
Great. Well, give us an update on, or just tell us all the activities that go on in Galveston.
Sure. So obviously we've got Juneteenth coming up. Galveston's the birthplace for Juneteenth, and it's the first for a lot of African American history that you can experience year round, and not just on Juneteenth, but we've got that big celebration coming up. Some other notable festivals. Galveston's known for its party throwing and family-friendly activities. So we've got Mardi Gras in February. We're the third largest Mardi Gras in the country. A lot of people don't know that about Galveston. We also have Dickens on the Strand, which is an awesome Victorian-themed, inspired festival thrown by the Galveston Historical Foundation. Galveston has one of the largest collections of Victorian architecture in the country, so it's a great way to tie into that heritage. And then we also have some amazing shrimp festivals and food and wine festivals. If you come to Galveston, there's something going on every month of the year.
Real wonderful. Well, now tell us about the Park Board and how they are involved.
Sure. So the Galveston Park Board was created in 1963 by a vote of Galveston citizens. Galveston became known for its tourism and its natural assets, being a 32-mile barrier island in the Gulf Coast. So people really wanted to preserve the economic engine that is tourism, and they wanted to make sure that that money was set aside so that tourism could continue in the island, because it's one of the biggest drivers of the economy in Galveston. So the Park Board is funded primarily through hotel occupancy tax. So when visitors come to Galveston, they get charged a little extra hot tax, and that money goes to promote the island. So marketing, advertising, media relations, helping events, and stuff like that. So that's what the Park Board does through Visit Galveston. We also have the Galveston Beach Patrol. We also have coastal zone operations. So our team's responsible for cleaning 32 miles of beaches every single day. And we also do nourishment projects to help keep the beaches clean and healthy. And we even build beaches with sand that we ship in so that it's there for everybody to enjoy and protects against storm surges and stuff like that.
Well, I'm so glad you explained that, since Mr. Barkley tried to do us an injustice.
Yeah. It was all good fun. We appreciated the apology. We appreciated the extra attention. A lot of people got to learn about Galveston, and I think when they looked us up, they found that Mr. Barkley was mistaken. And we've got, obviously, Miss Tina Knowles on our side. So
yes, that was very wonderful to hear from her. That's correct. Well, the high tax that we have received, what was the activity that the Park Board put together so that we could have these activities for Juneteenth?
Sure. So we did a Juneteenth grant fund. We started it last year. I think we allocated about $80,000 last year to help build up some local activities in Galveston related to Juneteenth, and then things that people can take part in after Juneteenth as well. So it was super successful last year. We had a lot of applicants, and so this year the park board set aside $200,000 to really help lift that up and try to build the local activities that we have so that more people can experience the island where it all began with the people that have been celebrating it on the island for many generations.
That's correct. Well, can you tell me where they can find what the activities are?
Absolutely. We have over 25 Juneteenth activities from the weekend before Juneteenth to the weekend after, because it's nice in the middle of the week now. So there's more than 14 days worth of activities for people to enjoy. But if they go to visitgalveston.com, that is the best place to find all of the activities related to Juneteenth. There's a great blog post that explains all of them and lets people know when and where to be to celebrate.
Very good. I'm really excited about this year. I think we've added some more activities.
Absolutely. We do have some new ones. We have a play that's going to be featured, I think, at Old Central, which will be really cool. That'll be fun to see. And then obviously the staples like the reading at Ashton Villa, the parade and picnic at Reedy Chapel. There's just so many historic celebrations, and it's always fun to add some new ones in there as well.
Very good. Let me see. I just wanted to find out, do we have some other special guests? I think Fred Hammond is going to be there for a concert.
Yes.
At the Grand.
There's going to be a wonderful gospel concert at the Grand. I can't remember. I can look up the date, but I can't.
Yeah. I think it's June the 8th.
Okay. Yes. And those tickets are available, so people can purchase those still.
Okay. Can you tell me about the Grand, the building?
Sure. The Grand Opera House is a super historic opera house. It was one of the jewels of the Gulf Coast in the late 1800s. It's celebrating, I think it's 125th anniversary. And it actually was damaged in the 1900 storm and opened up a year later because it was so important to the community. The business members knew that they needed art and entertainment and a way to laugh and enjoy life again after that devastating storm. So I think they were able to open a year later after being completely devastated by the storm. So there's been some amazing acts there. The gospel concert, I think, is in its second year, so that's super exciting. But you can see Lyle Lovett, Willie Nelson has been on that stage. Jackson 5. I don't think it's been the Jackson 5, but some really, really great acts.
Yeah, Smokey Robinson. Yeah. And anyway, they've been great. We've had some great jazz musicians who've played there for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What about the mural?
Sure.
That's in Galveston?
Yeah, the Absolute Equality mural is painted on what is now the Neocultural Center, but it looks over where the original General Order Number 3 was typed up and distributed by General Granger back in late 1800s, right before Juneteenth. So it was actually the headquarters for the Union Army, and they camped out there with some of the Union soldiers and then the colored troops as well. And
Yes.
they were the ones that got to deliver and enforce freedom in Galveston, Texas, the last stop,
Right.
2 years after the Emancipation Proclamation was signed.
And that generally depicts what happened during that time.
Absolutely. So the Absolute Equality mural depicts that, as well as some other major game players in the fight for equality, both pre and post Juneteenth.
That's true. Great. What are there any other things that you want to tell us about the park board?
The park board's mission is to make Galveston a great place to live and in turn a great place to visit. We really want our residents to have a good experience, and we want to put forth quality amenities, whether it's the beach parks, whether it's keeping the beaches clean, whether it's keeping it safe, whether it's marketing it in a sustainable way, so that the island remains a wonderful place to live. So that's kind of our focus right now. And obviously celebrating heritage tourism. It's going to be a huge year. We've got 160 year for Juneteenth next year. It's 200 years of the Port of Galveston, 125 years of the Great Storm since that happened. So we have such a rich heritage and culture in Galveston, and Juneteenth is a major, major piece of that. So our goal is to let people know and fund events like Juneteenth so that we can go out and market it nationally and internationally.
So have you been called by different people across the country?
Absolutely. So last year we were featured in the New York Times for our Juneteenth celebration. The year before that, it was BBC. Shondaland came down. We had a whole hour on NPR, the national NPR, not just the local affiliate. And this year we're definitely getting calls. We actually have a travel expert that's going to be based at the San Luis Resort here in a couple of days, and she's doing, I think, 13 market hits where she will tell people about Juneteenth and the celebration. We had a PBS crew down a couple weeks ago filming a Juneteenth special. It's called Traveling with Danella, and that will air in a lot of regional PBS channels. So definitely always buzz, always excited to talk about Juneteenth and to let people know the story. It's amazing how many people you still run into that have no idea either about the holiday or that Galveston was the place where it began.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate all that has been done by the park board and the way it has really made sure that the public, citizens of the United States and the other places know this is where it all began. Before you leave, I want you to give us a rundown of what are the activities that folk are going to be coming to see.
Sure. Yeah. Actually, I have it right here. So starting June 8th, that's the Emancipation Celebration at the Grand Opera House that we were talking about, the gospel concert. So that is a fundraiser benefit, and it's a super amazing event. They always bring in Grammy nominated artists.
Yeah, this artist is going to be Fred Hammond this time.
That's going to be great. So the idea of the concert is to honor pioneers on the national and local level who have been a part of the fight for equality and the fight for freedom. So a lot of the music and a lot of the show will be evolved around that. So not just Juneteenth related, but through segregation, everything that came after Juneteenth, because freedom didn't just appear.
Right.
So after that, the June 8th celebration at the Grand Opera House, there's so much. There's the 10th annual Juneteenth Gala on June 13th. That's been around for a few years, and it's another great fundraiser opportunity to really help the local community around Juneteenth and after. I know there are scholarship programs and other things that are tied into that. The second annual Juneteenth Comedy Fest is after that on June 14th, which I'm sure is going to be very funny and another way to tie in art and culture into Juneteenth and make it fun and relevant and modern in a new way. And then June 15th is the Juneteenth Festival and Celebration at McGuire-Dent Park. Named after McGuire-Dent's actually named after the first African-American superintendent in Texas, Jesse McGuire-Dent. So there's some good historic roots there. And they have been holding that celebration for a few years now. It started out as just kind of like a little picnic, and it's grown to be a really must-be-at event. It's super family-friendly and right across from the beach. So,
And I know some of our people who might know Jessie McGuire Den because she was one of the founders of one of our Divine Nine sororities.
I did not know.
Delta Sigma Theta.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Juneteenth Parade and Picnic is also that day. Yeah, a lot happening on June 15th. The second annual Juneteenth Sneaker Ball, which was another grant award winner that applied for Juneteenth funding. Goodness.
That's another scholarship activity, and that was done by members of the Divine Nine, the Panhellenic of Galveston.
Got their fingers in everything.
Yeah.
And then June 16th is the Avenue L Baptist Church Juneteenth celebration. Can you talk about the history of Avenue L?
Well, in Galveston, we have 4 denominations that were the first. And so Avenue L was the first Baptist church denomination. Reedy Chapel was the first African Methodist Episcopal Church. Then there is Holy Rosary Catholic Church, which was the first African American Catholic denominational church. And then there is the Episcopalian Church. Right now I can't think of the name, but I know they're on 45th Street in so I'll think about it before the next event. It'll come to me. But this is a time that those churches are going to be also honored at that June 8th activity at the Grand as well.
Awesome.
Yes.
Great. And then on the actual day, June 19th, is the 45th annual Juneteenth proclamation reading at Ashton Villa.
Yes.
So that's been going on forever. Senator Al Edwards, who was integral in getting Juneteenth as a Texas holiday, we're so happy that Opal Lee got it across the finish line to be a federal holiday.
Yes.
But the work that Al Edwards did to make it a Texas holiday, and the reason why it's so well known in Texas. So that's been a big celebration for a long time now.
Yeah, just as you said, about 45 years, because that has been headed up by Doug Matthews and Reverend Thomas and others who have celebrated that for 45 years.
Yeah, so that's a historic one, and then you roll into another historic one at Reedy Chapel,
Yes.
which obviously has major ties to Juneteenth. It's one of the places that General Order Number 3 was posted because it was the popular African American church at the time, so they knew that that would be a great way to get the message out. So I know that those activities are amazing. My favorite part is the parade afterwards to see the colored troops reenactment and all of that kind of stuff. I'm sure you can talk about that.
Well, yeah, it was the actual, which actually happened in January. It was the first celebration of Juneteenth. And as you said, it's a really nice reenactment of everything. And one of the special things that's happened is that we've had, when the slaves were free, they were sending messages to family members. And we actually found out last year one of the family members lived that wrote his letter was at Reedy Chapel. And so we met the actual family members who were right up the road in Houston.
That's so cool.
And so this year I understand there's another person through the genealogy program that has found its way down to have connections with Reedy Chapel.
Oh, that's
Isn't that amazing?
Okay. Well, that's a big June 19th day.
Yeah.
And then I know that something new to the island, on June 21st, the Kinsey family will be giving a lecture and a book signing opportunity at the Rosenberg Library. And the Kinsey family has the largest collection of African-American artifacts and history and documents in the country, for sure. I've heard even in the entire world.
Yes, it's an excellent exhibit.
Oh, yes. It's at the Holocaust Museum in Houston right now. And I think it concludes right before Juneteenth. And then they come to Galveston.
That's
we're
wonderful.
lucky to have them.
I tell you, we have so many things for everybody to come and see.
Absolutely.
It's really exciting.
So those are all the big ones on my list. Or is there anything I missed that you want to make sure people know about?
Well, the parade, we're going to have a parade. I think you touched everything. Oh, we do have a young lady who has a tourism business who takes people around.
The Juneteenth and Beyond tours with Dr. Sorrell.
Yeah.
Those are really great. We've brought some journalists and some content creators to town and put them on her tour, and we've just heard amazing things. So that's something people can do year round for sure. But if they're in Galveston on Juneteenth, they definitely should take advantage of taking a Freedom Walk and Juneteenth tour.
So I think you've pretty much touched everything. You just said the Freedom Walk. The Freedom Walk is actually a tour walking.
Yep, it's a self-guided tour. There is an app that is gamified. So if you use your phone at places like the mural or at the Customs House along the Freedom Walk, you can actually see videos of local historians telling the story about Juneteenth and why each stop was culturally significant to that time. But the Freedom Walk is something people can take year-round, but definitely if you're in Galveston for Juneteenth, go to visitgalveston.com and look up the Freedom Walk tour, and you can do that. And there's also a larger African-American history walking tour, probably more of a driving tour because there's so many spots to see in Galveston, from the first school to the first desegregated library, first desegregated soda counter in Texas. Galveston has a lot of firsts. So the African American History Tour is a great way to kind of tie Juneteenth in with the rest of African American history in Galveston.
Wow, it's so exciting. I'm just glad you were able to come here to help me to excite the folk to come to Galveston where it all began.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.